Have you ever knelt in desperate prayer, pouring out your heart, only to hear nothing but silence, wondering why God seems so far away? It's a hidden struggle that grips even the most faithful. And the truth is, your prayers might be going unanswered for reasons you've never considered. First, your heart might be harboring unconfessed sin, blocking the line to heaven like static on a phone call. Psalm 66:18 says, "If I had cherished iniquity in my heart, the Lord would not have listened." God's not ignoring you, but sin builds a wall, and until you lay it bare before Him, your words might just echo back. Maybe you're clinging to bitterness, refusing to forgive someone who hurt you deeply. Jesus warned in Mark 11:25 that unforgiveness ties God's hands, leaving your prayers stranded. Examine your heart. Have you let resentment fester, secretly believing you're justified? That grudge could be the silent saboteur of your breakthrough. Or perhaps you're praying with a divided focus, asking God for blessings while your desires are tethered to worldly idols. James 4:3 cuts deep here. You ask and do not receive, because you ask wrongly, to spend it on your passions. Are you chasing God's will or your own ambitions, dressed up in spiritual language? The shocking truth is, God sees through the facade, and He won't answer prayers that serve your ego instead of His glory. Then there's the issue of doubt, that quiet whisper in your mind questioning if God will really come through. Hebrews 11:6 declares that without faith, it's impossible to please Him. You might say the right words, but if your heart wavers, it's like sending a letter with no stamp. It's not going anywhere. Reflect on this. When you pray, do you truly believe God is able? Or are you hedging your bets, half expecting disappointment? Another hidden reason lies in timing God's timing, not yours. You're begging for answers now, but Ecclesiastes 3:1 reminds you there's a season for everything, and what feels like delay is often God preparing you for something greater. The Israelites waited 40 years in the wilderness, yet every step shaped them for the promised land. Could your unanswered prayer be God's way of refining your character, teaching you to trust His perfect plan? Romans 8:28 promises that all things work together for good, but that good often comes through patience you'd rather avoid. Sometimes the problem isn't what you're asking, but how you're asking, praying with a sense of entitlement, as if God owes you an answer. Jesus modeled humility in Gethsemane, saying, "Not my will, but yours be done." Luke 22:42. Are your prayers demanding or surrendered? God responds to a heart that seeks His will above all else, not one that treats Him like a cosmic vending machine. And here's a sobering thought. Sometimes your prayers go unanswered because you're not acting on what God's already told you. You're asking for guidance, but Proverbs 16:9 says the Lord establishes the steps of those who move forward. If God's given you a clear command maybe to reconcile, serve, or step out in faith and you're stalling, why should He give you more clarity? Obedience unlocks answers, yet so many stay stuck, wondering why heaven's silent. Finally, consider this. Unanswered prayers might be God's mercy in disguise. You're pleading for that job, that relationship, that breakthrough, but 2 Corinthians 12:9 shows Paul embracing God's no because His grace was sufficient. What if the answer you're chasing would lead you away from God's best? The silence you dread could be His protection, sparing you from a path you can't yet see. This isn't about guilt-tripping you, but waking you up. God hears every word you pray. Psalm 34:17 assures that He's near the brokenhearted, but His response depends on your heart's alignment with His truth. So, search yourself today. Confess what's hidden, forgive what's festering, surrender what's divided, believe without wavering, and act on what you already know. Trust His timing, embrace His will, and rest in His mercy. Your prayers aren't falling on deaf ears. They're shaping you for a purpose bigger than you can imagine. The question is, are you ready to align with God's plan, or will you keep wrestling with silence? Step into His presence with a clean heart and watch how heaven begins to move.